Just when I thought I got the hang of the knobs. Well, I was playing, there was a medley. It was a mashup.
Right. It's another word for...
Another word for a word that we don't say moves around. Yeah. Ladies, good to have you in the house. Sue Hall.
Good to be in the house.
I don't know what I'm doing. Sue Hall for just been praised by our gorgeous BA Mira there for your dog handling skills.
Oh,
do you know that?
That's very nice to know.
Because I said to Mira, do you know Sue? And she said, well, I thought you would do dog walking together.
Yeah,
and
I see her at the dog park.
Two dogs, one's husky, one's Alsatian, and you're the only, they always say, because they're quite rowdier dogs apparently, everyone said keep that dog on a lead, and you say no, let them run around.
They sort it out themselves most of the time, you know. It's just a sort of who's the top dog, and they need to do that. As if they're off leads all the time, they can do it.
Well, actually, you're getting quite a reputation now for dogs, because I was reading in my local magazine about your dog.
Yes, well, Presto's in the magazine this month.
Presto.
Yes.
Is that what you going down that route of?
Well, I've got 3 dogs. I haven't got much choice, really.
Anyway, very good to see you again, and also the lovely Kim Trotter.
Hello.
We haven't got Roller Robbie, but the next best thing we've got his very glamorous younger sister. Good to see you. Are you
Much
well?
younger sister, can I just add? Bless him.
Have you heard from me? He's off on his...
No, I haven't. They're off on their anniversary holiday. 30 years they've been married.
Wow.
I know,
him and Mrs.
effort.
Roller Robbie. So, yeah, that's lovely.
Here come the girls, 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 girls.
Girls in the studio are currently Kim Trotter and Sue Hall. We say girls. Oh, girls.
Hello.
Females, yes.
Girls.
All right then, ladies. Lots of things to talk about on the programme today. First up, this is the news this week that Chris Evans, after he'd been given the job of hosting Top Gear, tipped a taxi driver 40p. It's a bit mean,
Bless
isn't it?
him.
Bless him.
How much was the fare?
60p. So this we're talking about now. Should tipping be banned? Are you a big tipper, Sue?
I'm a tipper, yeah, but I think it can get a bit confusing. It's difficult to kind of say, right, it's not like it's America where you have to tip big. All right, because people
How big do they tip in America then?
Well, it's usually about 25%,
25%,
yeah. But that's pretty standard, regardless of the state you're going to. That's a pretty standard. You can say that to people. If you're going to the States, be prepared to add 20 to 25% onto the bill.
Is that because the wages there are quite poor, so they need to bump out somehow?
Basically. The serving staff, they have a very low basic.
So, I mean, it's quite confusing who to tip. I mean, you tip taxis, you tip randomly hairdressers. You wouldn't tip...
it's very arbitrary, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's like that scene out of... what was the film? With Mr. Pink, and when they have that argument at the beginning, isn't it?
No.
Reservoir
Dogs, yeah. And it's like, but would you tip someone in a McDonald's for serving you food? No, but you tip someone in somewhere else in a restaurant for serving you food. So it's very arbitrary who we choose to tip and who we don't. And I find that, a bit confusing.
But I would tip a taxi driver, the same way as when I used to work on the coaches. The coach drivers always got tips, from the passengers. And I think it's from a safety point of view. They're just very grateful someone else has done all the driving and you've got them safely to their destination and they want to say thank you. And that's the way they show their appreciation.
Yeah, because you always have a whip round on a coach trip, don't you, for a little tip for the... Would your cleaners, for example, that's a very sort of... do they get tips or...?
Some of them do. Some of my clients they round up the money that they're supposed to give them. If it's supposed to be £15.50, they might round it up to 16 or something, and some of them will even pay them a token amount if they go away on holiday, because it's not the cleaner's fault that they're on holiday. Not all of them, just a few, but it's confusing.
Kim, have you worked in professions that have relied on tipping, waitressing or...
No, I haven't actually. I've never been a waitress.
You've never been a waitress?
No, I haven't. I worked in Woolworths Cafe when I was young, but that was just... I never got a tip for that.
Because, I mean, you do sort of... I've worked as a waitress in Cordy's when I was little, and you do sort of think, well, they might be good tippers if they look, frankly, they look a bit posh. So you do try and serve them better because you think you're going to get
nicer tip.
Nicer tip.
Yeah.
But
I
the
make no
service
bones
should be
about it.
consistent anyway, and I think that's probably where the whole American thing comes back in again, because they drum it into everybody about good customer service, and because it is consistent across the board, they can afford to say standards.
I think that's where it's really annoying when you've had really bad service and they sort of still expect a tip, and or if it's included in the bill, like 10% added.
That is annoying. That is annoying.
Yeah, because sometimes I've had one place we went to was absolutely awful, and they were really affronted that we didn't want to give a tip at the end. When you're doing the credit card thing and it says tip,
Oh, and
yes
then
or
you've
no,
got-
and we were
yeah.
like no, and they
But had the
really-
service been better, you would have tipped.
Potentially,
just because they weren't
absolutely,
very
but they
good.
were. They weren't just. It wasn't just bad. They were rude.
But they should give you the option, I think,
Yeah.
because it is a discretionary thing. And some menus say if your group is over a certain size, they will automatically put 10% tip on the bill, but they at least pre-warn you of that,
Yeah.
so you're expecting it, and that's fine. Your bill's £100, it comes in at 110. That's okay. They're happy with that, and you should be too.
Yeah, I do feel guilty if I don't give a big tip. I do tend to do 10%. And also, the other thing I do, the worse my haircut, the more I tip, because I think, oh, bless this hairdresser, she doesn't stand a chance. So I've had some appalling haircuts, and I thought, oh, gosh.
And
I'm
you've
giving
just
them-
really
You're
encouraged
sending out,
them.
you're sending out the
but-
wrong message
Yeah,
there. Do you
you've
not see what
really-
you're
No,
doing?
but I just feel so, I think, oh, you're not really going to make it
They've
in this
gone. Oh,
industry.
she loved that. I'm going to do that on the next person.
So I go out looking like some sort of poodle. She's got 50 quid. She's too. No, but I mean, so I do. But as you say, I mean, also in restaurants and things. I mean, the doler out of the food, the waitress. I mean, that's only one part of the whole chain, isn't it? You got everyone in the back.
Here come the girls, 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 girls.
Indeed, just chatting there about the relative merits of social media.
Which there are many.
Hashtag. What? Which
Hashtag
ones?
amazing.
Hashtag. I failed to see the point. Close hashtag. I'm not getting
No,
it, am
you
I?
don't close the
No,
hashtag.
you don't.
No.
Anyway, moving on. In the news this week, a driver was slapped with a £960 fine for middle lane hogging. Ian Stevens, 42, blamed his driving on high winds and denies being an inconsiderate driver. This is the question we're posing, ladies. What driver's behaviour brings out the road rage in you?
All of it. I'm
All of
terrible.
it. Are you?
It's shocking.
Yeah.
I do really. I talk to drivers on the road,
I swear.
and I just say
Yeah.
to them, where did you pass your test and when? Or do you still have to pass
As you're
it?
driving, like,
As I'm
in
driving.
an empty car?
And I say, if somebody who's behind me but needs to be in front of me, so goes in the middle lane and then comes back
Well,
in.
that means you're in the wrong lane, Sue Hall.
No, if there's only two lanes and I'm doing 75
Oh,
in the
yeah,
outside
yeah.
lane, but he needs to be faster than me, and he inside lanes to get in front of me, and I say very calmly, that helped, didn't it? You really needed to be
Do you
one
mean
car length
he
in front.
or she is undertaking?
Yes.
Yes. So undertaking.
Undertaking is an issue, and I'm afraid the lorries overtaking when the road is incline up is an issue with me as well.
There must be, if you're a lorry driver, there must be a reason why they do it. I'm sure if you drove a lorry, it's like you would think, you would understand why they do it. If you were a car driver, you're totally perplexed and think, do you really have to do this, stopping 2 miles of people on the gap? But they must be, otherwise they wouldn't do it, would they?
Well, I
can't
guess
believe.
if you're driving a lorry all those hours, then A, probably is a bit of fun, isn't it? Trying to overtake someone else. And B, yeah, I mean,
But they
sort
don't
of-
look. They don't really look behind them a lot of the time. They just
Oh,
say,
no,
I'm
that's
bigger
what
than
I hate,
everything
when they
else
pull
that's
out.
coming. I'm just going to pull straight
Yeah.
out. So they indicate and pull out straight away, and everything else has to scream to a halt behind
I just think
them.
it's one of those things, unless you've done it yourself, you don't know what it's like. It's like now I cycle and you don't know how annoying cars are. But as a cyclist's point of view, Amira's a motorcyclist, she says the same thing. Until you have done that form of transport, you don't kind of get that, if only they understood sort of thing. So your undertaking and that thing.
The lorries
The lorry pulling out.
overtaking with no warning.
What about you, Kim?
I just being impolite. I just, like if I'm trying to get out, and you can see I'm trying to get out, and to me it's like, let's just all help the traffic flow. So I always let people go in front of me, and I think, just let me out. So I just sit there staring at them and going,
Oh,
and
I
if they
don't. I drive like a
swear.
Londoner. I drive to the middle of the road and
or
I make them stop.
Yeah, I do that as well.
The thing that really annoys me, and it's probably stupid, is when you do let people out, and I try to do it a lot, and they just,
And
it's
they don't
so
say thank
difficult
you.
just to give a
Yeah,
little wave
well,
or just to
I
give you a
know.
nod.
That's it.
And you think, how can you just, drives me insane when you do that. And it's, I don't know. It just
But
makes me-
I've decided that my car is a little bubble for my anger. And it doesn't necessarily have to be road related. I just think that I'm just going to let it all out there, and then I can get
In
home
the
and be nice.
car?
Yeah, it's quite nice, isn't
You have to
it?
open the windows to let it out.
Well, yeah.
I think I need a bit more road rage
Just
going
kind of,
on, because I
yeah.
just sort of pootle along like Mr. Magoo, not really knowing what I'm doing.
Do you know, when I gave up smoking years ago, they ask you to identify your trigger points, right? Sort of when you really need a cigarette. And that was always one of my ones, was when I was driving, right? I always had to have a cigarette on because that was out the window. I thought, what am I going to do with this hand? It's always been used to having a cigarette.
You just make rude
Rude
gestures.
gestures.
Well, not quite. I did buy a bubble gun. I used to start throwing bubbles out the window.
That would be really good.
Yeah, I know, and you could fire the bubble gun.
Yeah.
You know, it was a real good way of... and
I
also...
think that's doing much for road safety. You with your bubble gun pointing at cars.
Well, no, what it meant was that people had something else to look at other than me, because where do them bubbles come from?
And then it'll crash.
I think we ought to point out we're not recommending this as a motoring.
No, I didn't have to do it for long.
road safety.
Just until the urge for a cigarette went.
I tell you, when I went on my safety awareness course, what's the thing you get when you speed?
Yes,
One of those,
yes.
yeah. And one thing that came up a lot was people get really cross, and everybody said they're really annoyed by it, but obviously we all do it, was when people at a junction, I don't know the technical terms for this, they sort of cut across you rather than going to where they should go, which is halfway along the road, and then turn. Does that make any sense?
So
Do
they
you know
do
what I mean?
curved turns instead of straight
Exactly.
turns.
And so you're
yes.
supposed to get to where the car is and then pull in. And everyone was going, oh, I hate that. I don't like that so much when they sort of pull over. No, it's just me.
When
No,
they,
yeah,
it
I know
can
what
be
you
annoying,
mean.
especially if they come in and they don't realise you're there and you're just about
I
to
should
come
point out, dear listener, that everybody is gesticulating madly with their
Yes.
hands at this point, trying to illustrate what they're saying.
Because we're ladies and we've not got the words for these.
It's a
this
potential
cast.
car crash waiting to happen.
Sure is.
So the middle lane hogging, is that one that gets you? It gets me a little bit, because then you do have to undertake. If someone's in the middle lane, you either have to go all the way out to the. It can be complicated.
No, if it's the middle lane, you can go into the outside lane, which is where you should go to overtake.
Yeah, but if the middle lane's not overtaking anything, he should be in the slow lane.
Right, but he'll realise that at some point. It's like when people go onto the motorway and they've still got an indicator going. Like, can they not see it on their dashboard? That there's a little flashing arrow, you know?
Oh, I've always got mine. I've never noticed on or off.
She's not good with buttons. Come on. There's only a few thousand of them in front of her now.
Exactly.
Here come the girls, 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 girls. Girls, girls, girls.
Had a text in. Michelle in Ipswich is listening in and says hi. Her girls are dancing at the Regent this weekend. CJ and Bailey, who are 13 and 6, they dance around the kitchen apparently, which is all very good. Anyway, we have got George's girls on the show at the moment. Sue All
Hello.
and Kim Trotter are with us in the studio talking about all manner of things on the programme today, including this in the news this week. Sales of packs of cards and board games are on the decline because kids are playing with iPads and computer games instead.
Someone's licking my toes.
Is that you, Sue?
I'm good, but I'm not that good.
We should also say Presto.
Presto is in the studio.
Presto is in the studio, being very quiet and good, so we appreciate that. Anyway, so what a surprise. They prefer to play on their iPads rather than having a round of Old Maid with their granny. What do you make of this, Sue? Did you used to play them when you were kids?
See, I don't know that we did too much. I mean, we did like the odd Snakes and Ladders and Ludo and that kind of thing, but we didn't have iPads, we didn't have tablets,
times
you
were
know.
different,
So,
times were different.
But the whole family dynamics changed as well. I mean, people don't always eat together anymore. You know, there's different. You know, everyone's got a phone and a tablet and stuff, and they get hooked into different things. And if you need it to be, I mean, I always buy my godchildren games which are traditional. You know, I don't like, because I think they've just got so much choice. But I know that their mum really appreciates that because that's
Yeah.
how she was brought up.
But those old chestnuts have kept going, haven't they? The Monopolies and the Cluedos and the Scrabbles and things. I mean, they're the old ones that they always bought out at Christmas
They've
time
kind
and
of
things like that.
modernised themselves
Yeah.
as well, haven't they? So
Yeah.
with Monopoly and stuff, can't you get ones now that have got sort of electronic lights and things and
They
flashing
have moved with
sounds
the
and
times,
things?
haven't they?
Yeah,
A lot
so
of them, yeah.
I think kids will still play them and you can still have those family games, but things just move on.
Are you a
don't they?
fan, Kim? Did you and Roller Robbie sit around the Monopoly board when you were kids?
We didn't massively, I have to say. We occasionally would, but not massively.
I've got to say, I can't stand stand them. I like a bit of Cluedo, but Monopoly,
Card games we
bear
I
used
was
it.
never
play.
very good at Monopoly, actually. That's probably why I didn't enjoy it. But I
It
did
just
use
seemed to take such a long time as well, didn't it? A game of Monopoly. It's just
It
kind
always
of like,
ends in a row.
come
But I
back
did
2
used
days
to-
later and it's still going.
I did used to play the old Scrabble, though, the old-fashioned one with a board and
Yeah.
little tablet things. But now that it's all gone digital, I have tried to do it, but it's too hard now.
What, online Scrabble?
Yeah, it's too hard now because it basically calls you an idiot if you haven't got enough scores. So I like to rely on my own sort of initiative. I said, well, that's not bad. I've got 17, but you could have got 74, if you'd have thought of that obscure word that is
not
known
helpful.
to...
I've got to say, talking of Monopoly, my brother, whose birthday is today, happy birthday, Dan, he was tuned in when we were little kids, and he said, right, he always used to win at Monopoly, quite normally because he cheated. And one day he said, well, I'll sell you my Monopoly tactics. So I saved up for ages, my pocket money, this. I thought, right, I'm going to get this great big explanation of how to win, and handed over my pocket money. He just said, buy the oranges. And that was it. That really
the
put me off
insight.
that. That was the only thing. Always buy the oranges. Apparently that's what you're supposed to do in Monopoly. But I think it's what is
Card
nice
games,
about
I think,
it.
are great though.
Do
Card
you?
games, I do
Yeah, I
remember
love
playing
a card
cards as a
game.
kid, actually.
And even now,
yeah.
if you've got a pack of cards, you can salvage a boring situation, can't you? If you're stuck in an airport or somewhere. But...
Salvage situation. I've never salvaged a situation with a pack of
No,
cards.
well, if you're camping, which of course we know you don't. But cards are easy to take up no space.
I mean, what
that's
is
it.
nice,
'Cause
you have
you
got-
might run out of charge.
Yeah, it's true. It is nice because it is slightly intergenerational. If you find you haven't got much in common with Auntie Gertie from number 30, if you get out a pack of cards or a chessboard,
It's a leveller.
it's a leveler, so you don't have to sort of all just play a game together.
And kids, really young kids will love playing a game of Snap.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. So I think cards are still quite,
Yeah, but it's just that the relentless onsurge of all these digital applications, isn't it? I can't see that's ever, in a few years' time, people are going to say, well, let's get the old buckaroo out.
Well,
I used to quite like buckaroo.
I like Buckaroo and I like Kaplunk.
Yeah, the element of surprise, isn't it? And I think you can still... They probably have apps that are electronic versions of things.
I suppose,
so,
yeah. I mean, you can play it all on an iPad, can't you? Anyway, we would love to hear from you on the programme. If you still sit down as a family and get the old Scrabble or Monopoly out. I mean, no, I never liked it.
Trivial Pursuit. What about
yes,
that?
Trivial
See, now they've
Pursuit.
upgraded that with all the questions and everything, made that much more relevant. I've still got the original version, of course.
One thing I will always force my friends and family to play endlessly is charades.
Yes,
Love
and you
a
don't
bit of
even
charade.
really
No, you don't
need
even know.
just a post-it thing
Just a
on your
post-it.
on your
Note
head.
to self, do not visit Georgie
Especially over the Christmas period.
over Christmas period, yeah.
Here come the girls, 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 girls. Girls, girls, girls.
Indeed, look, ladies, we're almost out of time. The programme, we must be swift. A survey has revealed the most memorable film characters of all time. It includes only one woman. Do you want me to tell you the list, young people?
Go on, then.
Can't find it. Oh, here we go.
Yeah.
Number 1, Indiana Jones. Number 2, James Bond. Number 3, Star Wars, Han Solo. Number 4, Batman. 5, this is the lady aliens, Eleanor Ripley. The Joker, John McClane. Die Hard. Fight Club's Tyler Durden. Star Wars, Darth Vader. And The Big Lebowski's The Dude. Anything you'd like to add to that, ladies?
Well, I don't know. I think it's sort of who did the poll, basically. You've got to look at.
It's Empire readers, so they're all kind of up there, quite trendy cinema people. I'd imagine if you said it in 10 years' time, they're all quite current, aren't they?
What?
Well,
Well, no, they're not actually. They're all
really.
old. I mean,
Yeah.
was what I was going to say, because when you do the
Indiana
TVs,
Jones.
when you do the TV characters, they're a little bit more current. But the films, it's interesting, isn't it? Because a lot of the films come from comics as well.
Yeah.
Comic
And they
heroes.
were largely male characters.
Yeah.
So I don't think we need to be surprised that there's only one.
I don't think it's ever a
Woman on there.
surprise that women are sidelined. Really.
Sidelined. And my favourite course, not course, Butch Cassidy. Just like
Yes.
that film. It's my favourite film.
Again, men.
Yes, true. It's true. I can't think of any. That's bad, isn't it? What about you, Kim?
I know. I can't think of any other female characters. That's the.
Oh
that's the
no,
sad
come.
thing.
There must be.
Not off the top of my head. Not
Well, unless you
in,
say
in
something.
TV, definitely.
All right, let's see.
In the
There's a
films.
TV list. Oh yeah, there's a TV
Yeah,
list.
I saw that.
Number one, Breaking. Now this is very current. Breaking Bad, Walter White, Game of Thrones, Tyrion Lannister, The Simpsons, Homer Simpson, Doctor Who, Tony Soprano, Sherlock Holmes, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and I really have lost the last three. But there's
See,
three
I think
more.
there's a lot more strong female characters coming through, like Homeland.
Yes.
Oh yes,
Fantastic
Carrie.
female
she's
protagonist.
brilliant.
Yeah.
She
Yeah,
is good.
exactly.
Very good.
I watched Damages recently, which was Glenn Close, and again 2 female protagonists who end up in this kind of almost master servant, not servant, but master teacher.
Sounds a little bit kinky,
pupil.
Kim.
Well, you look
No,
at
it
something like
wasn't.
you look at The Good Wife as well.
Yeah, it's
you've got a
very good.
lot of
Started watching
powerful
that.
women
Yeah,
in that
so I
as
think
well.
in TV,
Yeah.
it's kind of leading the way.
But the ones that make it to the movies, not so much.
Yeah. One of the characters for me would have to be Adina from Absolutely Fabulous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about Del Boy?
Well,
And film or TV?
TV. And he's got to be one of the iconic characters. I thought Del Boy from the last.
Probably,
I think,
yeah.
but if you read Empire, you're quite sort of trendy and filmy.
But I think as well, if you're going for female characters, we're very good at period dramas, aren't we? Especially, they make the screen really good. What's her name? The skinny Keira Knightley.
Yeah.
I mean, she does a lot. Glenda Jackson, Judi Dench. They've done some really powerful portrayals of historical people as well
females,
as
all the Jane Austen films.
and of course they don't always sit well with everybody.
Yeah, the
those-
Empire readers are probably
Yeah.
not going to be watching.
If they're
Jane
more
Austen.
into the action movies, which clearly they are, action and sci-fi, then yes, the
Exactly.
vast majority of that list is
Michelle
going to feature
Pfeiffer's
that.
Catwoman should be.
Oh,
in there
she was
somewhere,
good.
shouldn't she?
Anyway, we're all out of time, ladies. Thank you so much for your contribution to the programme. Sue on the text says, we're right. Some road users are awful. Some use their indicators to thank us, but many do not. And so many don't use indicators at all. And she's a truck driver and finds it very difficult. Don't throw away your highway code. It's a Bible that people should use for life, she says.
Sage
Lovely to have
words.
your company on the programme today. We'll do it all again. And also thanks to the gorgeous mirror behind the scenes. We will see you on Sunday. Have a